Does every message at work feel like it needs an answer right now? A red flag appears, a coworker asks for a quick update, a manager changes a deadline, and suddenly your entire plan for the day disappears. The problem is that not every urgent request is actually important. Sometimes the urgency comes from anxiety, poor planning, unclear ownership, or someone else's pressure. And when you react to every request like an emergency, your focus gets shattered, your important work gets pushed aside, and you spend the day responding to whoever sounds loudest. The good news is that you can learn to slow the panic, test what is truly urgent, and respond with clarity instead of letting pressure control your day. Workplace urgency can be deceptive because it often arrives with emotional signals. A sharp message, a sudden deadline, or a stressed manager can make something feel critical before you have had time to check whether it actually is. Your body reacts first, your attention narrows, and you may abandon important work simply because someone else sounds anxious. That is where the real problem begins. When every request gets treated like an emergency, you stop choosing your priorities and start reacting to pressure. Your focus becomes fragmented, deep work disappears, and rushed decisions can create even more confusion later. In this video, you'll learn how to separate real urgency from emotional urgency so you can respond without becoming careless or unresponsive. We'll look at how to test the actual consequences of waiting, how to acknowledge urgent feeling requests without immediately dropping everything, and how to use trade-off language when a new task competes with work that is already important. You'll also learn how to create a simple personal urgency filter and protect focused work from constant interruptions. The goal is not to ignore deadlines. It is to become more deliberate about what truly deserves immediate action, what needs clarification, and what can wait without creating real harm. How to stop treating every work request like an emergency. Many workdays feel urgent from the moment they begin. A message arrives with a red flag. A coworker asks for a quick update. A manager changes a deadline. Someone drops a task into chat with the kind of tone that makes it sound like the entire company will collapse if you do not answer immediately. The problem is that not everything urgent is actually important. Some tasks are time-sensitive, but many only feel urgent because someone is anxious, disorganized, or trying to create movement without clarity. When you treat every request like an emergency, your focus gets shattered. You stop choosing your priorities and start reacting to whoever sounds loudest. Staying calm at work does not mean ignoring pressure. It means learning how to separate real urgency from emotional urgency. That skill protects your attention, improves your decisions, and keeps you from becoming another person who spreads panic through the team. Why everything starts to feel urgent. Urgency spreads fast in the workplace because it uses emotional signals. A sharp message, a sudden deadline, or a manager's stressed tone can make your body react before your mind has checked the facts. You may feel your chest tighten, your typing speed increase, or your thoughts narrow to one question: what do I need to do right now? That reaction makes sense. The brain is designed to respond quickly to perceived threats. But workplace urgency is often not a true threat. It is a mix of deadlines, unclear ownership, poor planning, and social pressure. Your body may treat the situation like danger, even when the actual consequence is small. This is why a pause matters. Without a pause, you may accept unrealistic timelines, abandon important work, or send rushed responses that create more confusion later. You may look responsive in the moment, but your real work suffers. Ask what will actually happen if this waits. One of the simplest ways to slow urgency is to test the consequence. Ask yourself, what happens if this waits 1 hour? What happens if it waits until the end of the day? What happens if it waits until tomorrow? This question separates the signal from the reality. A message may sound urgent, but if nothing serious changes by waiting an hour, it may not deserve immediate interruption. A request may feel intense, but if the only consequence is someone feeling temporarily uncomfortable, you can respond with more control. Real emergencies usually involve serious impact, safety, legal deadlines, customer harm, financial risk, or a blocked critical deliverable. False emergencies often involve anxiety, poor planning, or vague pressure. Knowing the difference helps you protect your focus without becoming careless. Use a calm response instead of a rushed one. When someone sends an urgent feeling request, you do not have to solve it immediately to be reliable. Often, the better move is to acknowledge it and give a clear response time. You might say, "I see this. I'll review it and confirm next steps by 2 p.m. That sentence does several things. It reassures the other person. It gives you breathing room. It prevents repeated follow-ups. Most importantly, it stops you from abandoning your current work without thinking. For requests that compete with existing priorities, use trade-off language. For example, "I'm finishing the client draft due today. I can start this at 3 p.m. or I can switch now if that draft should move. Which is the priority?" This is not resistance. It is clarity. Create a personal urgency filter. A personal urgency filter helps you stop deciding from panic. Before changing your plan, run the request through a few questions. Is there a real consequence if this waits? Who owns the decision? What is the smallest useful next step? What current priority will be delayed if I accept this now? Does this need action or does it need clarification? These questions turn urgency into information. They help you respond like a professional instead of reacting like someone trapped in crisis mode. You do not need to use this filter perfectly. Even 1 or 2 questions can slow the panic enough for better judgment to return. Protect deep work from false emergencies. The biggest cost of urgency culture is not just stress. It is lost depth. Important work needs uninterrupted attention. Strategy, writing, analysis, planning, problem-solving, and creative thinking all suffer when your day is chopped into reactive fragments. That is why you need protected focus windows. Block time for important work and treat it like a real commitment. Use status messages if needed. Batch messages instead of answering every ping instantly. Give people predictable times when they can expect a response. Being unavailable for a short period does not make you irresponsible. It can make you more effective because you are giving important work the attention it deserves. Not every urgent request deserves immediate access to your attention. Some things need fast action. Many things need a calm question, a clear timeline, or a better owner. When you stop treating every work request like an emergency, you become more reliable, not less. Calm is not passivity. It is a way of choosing carefully when pressure is trying to choose for you. The more you practice pausing, assessing, and responding clearly, the less urgency controls your day. Not every urgent request deserves immediate access to your attention. Some situations genuinely require fast action, especially when safety, legal deadlines, customer harm, financial risk, or a critical deliverable is involved. But many workplace emergencies are actually anxiety, poor planning, vague pressure, or unclear priorities disguised as urgency. Calm does not mean ignoring important work. It means pausing long enough to understand what actually needs your attention before pressure makes the decision for you. When you learn to assess consequences, clarify priorities, communicate realistic response times, and protect focused work, you become more reliable, not less. The goal is not to react faster to everything. It is to respond better to what truly matters. If your workday constantly feels like one emergency after another, share this video with someone who may be dealing with the same pressure. And if you want more practical strategies for workplace stress, communication, productivity, boundaries, and protecting your focus at work, like this video and subscribe to the channel for more.